going down. Tired of myself, tired of this town.
Eminent Waste of Time, presented by CW Motorsports, episode 74. I'm Doug.
And I'm Chad.
And today we've got Mr.
Andy Bridgewater.
Sam Woodrow.
There you go.
So,
Special
guest, and we didn't want to ruin the surprise by any of our Facebook posts or anything that we're going to have back-to-back Andy episodes.
Yeah, that's right. Can't go wrong with that.
No. We saved the best one for last, though, right?
Thank you. At least around here, anyways.
But man, we're rolling really hard and fast into the 2019 season here, and we just wanted to try and get you guys some time on to talk about. You've got a lot of new stuff going on at MWXC, and
yes.
Want to have you guys on here, but it's just kind of a classic Eminent Performance thing and a MWXC thing that right before we're about to do something goes terribly, terribly wrong. So if you can't hear it in the background, we got a generator running because, 20 minutes, half hour before we decided to record, the power went out.
Of course.
So we hacked up an extension cord and pulled the panel cover off and did some rather uncode wiring that would probably not be approved by anybody in their right mind.
It's Morgan County's fine.
But we're here and we're recording, so...
That's when you know you're bad luck, whenever the power goes out and you're not even to a place yet.
Yeah.
So we had Andy Kiner on last week, and AXCC is obviously a brand new series, but they seem to have caused kind of a ripple effect and quite a shakeup, especially in the side-by-side world, because they announced they were coming on to pick up the slack from GNCC, deciding they weren't doing UTVs at all. Yeah. And then all of a sudden you had Extreme pop up on the scene, and then IXCR decides to start, just throwing money at side-by-side drivers.
They decided they don't like money anymore. They're giving it away.
We're just going to give it away. I mean, IXCR, if you've got a bunch of extra money you really don't need, you can send it our way because we could use it.
Right.
But I know that's kind of affected your strategy this year for a lot of different things, not just side-by-side, but just... before we delve into all that stuff, give people a little information. You used to race yourself, didn't you?
Yeah, it all started back at Haspin Acres in Laurel, Indiana, about 16, 17 years ago. We were down there camping out, and a friend of mine was going to race, and I decided to race with him. And it was the team race, the Halloween 100, and
nice.
I raced with his 14 or 15-year-old boy, and he raced with his other son, and I just had a blast, and I was hooked from then. So we had the whole winter off to get everything ready, and then we started from there getting stuff ready, and we raced our first national, which was down in West Virginia at some big cat refuge, and it was super, super cool. We were walking the track and look over, and there's a 20-foot fence, and there's a tiger laying up on the rock, and I'm thinking, yeah, we're getting out of here. That fence is not going to stop that thing from eating me. And
note to self: don't crash through that fence.
That's right. That's right.
The wreck didn't kill him; he wasn't going all that fast.
That's right. You got thrown away from a tiger. So, and then after a couple years of racing with Danny and Becky Mullins down there at Haspin, they decided that they're going to go in a different direction and put on motocross races, and asked if I'd be interested in buying the series from them. And I'm always a glutton for punishment, so I spent way more money.
What's the worst that could happen?
Yeah, I went home and I told my wife, we're going to be rich. I'm going to go hang a bunch of arrows and spend.
These arrows don't cost anything.
Yeah, they're promising me everything. It's going to be awesome. We're going to set up these races down here, and we're going to make a bunch of extra money. And that didn't happen that way. Well, our first year we raced just at Haspin Acres. I think we had 8 races there, and the park was open whenever we're putting on these events with a bunch of drunken rednecks at nighttime, running through your caution tape, and wake up in the morning and go run a sweep of the track before the race starts, and people's parked on the track and took your arrows down and burned them or whatever.
Started fire.
Yeah. So now I got to reroute the track around sleeping idiots. So it was fun, to say the least. And then after a bad accident with a pro racer running into somebody in a Jeep, that was our last race there, and we started out the next year racing 4 races in Kentucky at 2 different places. We raced 2 at Big Rock Off-Road, and then 2 at Royal ATV Royal ATV, not Ride Royal Blue, but another one.
Okay.
Down in Kentucky, right by the indoor motocross track down there, Early Lines. It's right by there. And then we had a couple in Greencastle at Cantline Farms and down in Madison, and then it's went from there. So.
And you had small numbers then. How many did you have showing up that first? We'll say the first year.
Yeah.
Our first race, we had a total of like 130 racers, and I didn't know any different at the time because it was in February was when we first started setting up, but our race was the first or second weekend of April. Well, I set up the track down there, and when I bought all of the race equipment, they give me a bunch of arrows. Well, we were only having an adult race, and so they give me green moose arrows. Well, I hang up all these arrows. You can see them fine. Well, come race day of the first race, the leaves were in bloom, and you can't see green arrows anymore. And
You learned that pretty quick.
And I learned fast that racers don't show up if they can't see the arrows. So our first race, we had over 100, and then our second, third, fourth, and fifth, we were getting about 70 total racers.
Whew.
And then our first big race that I can remember having to where I was like, yeah, this is worth it, is we had a race at Cantline Farms in Greencastle. And I wake up Sunday morning, and there's a line out, all the way to the road, and I think we had 300 racers. And it was like, this is it. We finally, we're doing big things. That was short-lived. It was another couple of years before we broke the 300 mark again. And
a bunch of other series canceled that weekend.
yeah.
Got to race somewhere.
It
We'll
was
go there.
It was a close race. It wasn't down in Madison. It was the first one in Putnam County that I'm aware of, other than there's another series that races, or not another series, a family down there that have dirt bike only races.
Okay,
and,
gotcha.
But we were fortunate to have that, and here we are.
Yeah.
I think this will be our 111th race coming up.
Yeah, I know this past season, pretty early on, we had the 100th race anniversary, and you're now, pretty consistently seems like in the 600 to 700 bracket, and there's races where we're up in 900 range.
Yeah, our average race attendance grew again this year to 784 racers on average. So
that's quite a few.
Yeah.
So we get the question all the time, and you're the better one to answer it than me, because I always just kind of guesstimate. So if you have, we'll say 750 racers, how many people come through the gate?
What's the gate look like?
It's 2.25 spectators per every racer.
Okay.
If that makes sense. I mean, and that all depends on the weather also. If it's sunny and 70, your grandmas and your aunts and all that, they're going to come out and they're going to bring the little kids and stuff. But if it's 35 and raining, the numbers are very, very little. But I'd say our average through the gate number is right at 2,000 people.
We were guessing between 2,000 and 2,500, so we weren't too far off.
Yeah, and then our biggest race was at Ghost Town.
That's
this
always
past
a fan
year,
favorite,
it was like 3,300 people through the gate there.
And if no one, for those of you who have not been out to Ghost Town, it's a really unique piece of property. We've talked about it on several podcasts, and one of the outstanding features of this property is there's nowhere to park. So having 3,300 people there, I mean,
and all of them need to park.
Imagine Woodstock, like people just all over on top of each other. But it's a great time. Everybody has a lot of fun. But it is, if you're claustrophobic or don't like people, that's not the race to attend.
Yeah, and it's a stressful one as a promoter as well, because you have to think of all that. Like this year, we shortened up the track a little bit just to add more parking in other spots, and nowhere else you have to worry about that, because either the property has enough parking, or it has the same amount of parking, but it's somewhere not as neat to where people don't.
The numbers aren't as high necessarily. Yeah. But everybody wants to go see Ghost Town, and they want to see the old tuberculosis facilities and all that stuff, and it's neat to see. I'm not nothing against it at all, but it's tight. Show up early if you're going.
Yes, it is. Yeah, I think this year it's still up in the air whether we're racing there or not. The landowner is working with a different contractor to have the place cleaned up to get rid of some of the old coal dust and stuff. The EPA is gonna give him some funding to get it cleaned up, or
I thought you were going to say they were going to give him some fines if he didn't, because that sounds like EPA.
But he can't. I don't think he can get rid of it for as much as it's worth with all that stuff being there. So he found the contractor that is getting some funding together to, like some government funding to help him clean it up. So he's wanting to, make the place nicer. So
yeah,
makes sense.
That'd be nice.
And if anybody's interested in buying it, they can be bought for like $800,000, which honestly isn't that bad of a deal for 300 acres.
No.
Neat.
Chad, I think if we put our resources together, we only need to come up with $789,000.
Right,
we should be good to go.
Yeah.
Well, Sam, you've kind of made your mark on the MWXC scene over the past couple of years, and tell us a little bit about yourself and how you came to find the series. And I know, a lot of people who are familiar with the series recognize you not just as a racer, but you also track sweep and do pretty much whatever else is required of you.
Right. Started in 2017. First race was Ghost Town, and came on just not even track sweeping, just helping out in the pits, and going from there. Met Andy and his wife, and really felt at home. So I finished out the 2017 season. 2018 was my first full year. Raced and had a good time. Since I was 4 years old, I've raced motocross, and that was fun. But MWXC is the first family that I, at home I felt at a track. I mean, you get the same group of guys show up there, guys, ladies that come every weekend, and it's really neat to just feel at home when you leave home, if that makes sense.
Yeah, absolutely. That's one thing we've said about the series in general, that there's all the other series, and some of them, I'm not saying yours is run unprofessionally at all, but some of them really, try and make it very sterile and more
They're just
professional.
trying to copy GNCC.
Yeah, they're trying to copy the GNCC formula. Yours is, you show up and it's within one race, you're like, oh yeah, it's them, and you go hang out in the pits after with everybody, and it does feel like a family event.
It's a real welcoming scene.
Yeah.
It's nice.
Yeah, for sure.
So finished out 2018. Looks like 2019 I got some big shoes to fill. I'm going to try to step in as a voice of MWXC, and I got a lot to learn, but I'm excited.
You're going to be the best one yet.
Yeah.
Yep,
No.
way better than that last one.
I don't know where they found that dude, but he was a jerk.
Right.
Just showed up one day, and what do you know?
Oh, yeah,
Yeah.
But honestly, when Chad and I showed up on your doorstep, it was beginning of the 2017 series? Yeah, because it was late 2016 when you said, let's go racing, and I said, sure, why not?
Yeah.
And
I got a bad idea, let's try something.
Yeah.
But it was kind of the same for us. We showed up, really liked the vibe of, what was going on, and we just kind of said, all right, what can we do to help? And it's that kind of environment where you just feel like you want to pitch in and, be a part of it. And I'm gonna miss my role there. I won't lie. I'm gonna miss being there every weekend. But shoot, my schedule's so screwed up from here through the rest of the year with this new job I've taken on, and EP's got a lot of stuff on its plate.
Yeah,
I just can't be anywhere reliably every single race event. I'm not going to even make all the AXCC races, even though there's only 7. I'm missing the first one because I'm going to be somewhere over the Pacific Ocean when it starts.
Yeah.
So
You just need to have some races in Africa, I guess. Kind of correlate it with your schedule.
yeah, come on out
I
there.
told them to film like a monkey race or a giraffe race or whatever they do over there.
I know.
I wouldn't do it.
I didn't bring back anything good. I'm sorry.
You wouldn't smuggle me back a monkey or anything.
Well, 2019, you've got a lot of changes have happened. A lot of things have been rearranged for you. If you want to give us a little rundown of just what's going on.
We can
what's
go
going on with MWXC?
We can go over the schedule first. You got that still pulled up? We got
You've got races.
well, let's do the payout first. We got some new payouts this year. All right, so to qualify for payouts, you must be entered into one of the classes listed below. So we got first place for Pro Bike will be $750, and this is the same for Pro ATV. Second place will be $400. Third place, $150. If there are 10 or more in these pro rows, which there was at almost every race last year, it'll be $750 to first, $400 to second, $150 to third, $100 to fourth, and $70 to fifth. And then the Pro 4x4 Open ATV class, it'll be first place $100, second is $50, and then if there's 5 or more entries, it goes to $150 to first, 75 to second, and third is 50. And in our pro UTV class, it'll be 750 to first place, 500 to second, and 250 to third. So those are a lot bigger set numbers than last year that we had last year. Last year we just did a percentage on it. It was, I think, 80% payback. So, I mean, there were some races that got up there, but, you know, we had to kind of do what everybody else was doing if we expect to continue to grow, and that ought to help for sure. I think that I've been contacted by a couple pro racers that are nervous that now there's going to be so many pros in the front row that are just out after the money that now they're wanting me to do
heavy payouts.
No, then it's just going to be sandbaggers. You know, if you're a pro racer, yes, if you get a bad start, it's going to be hard for you to work your way through the class. But I mean, that's part of it.
That's because you'll have sandbaggers that say, well, X racer is here, and I know I'm not faster than their car, so I'm going to drop back to heavy where I know I can get first. And instead of getting a $250 payout, I'll get a $300 or $400 payout, whatever it would.
It's better than nothing. Yeah. And I've got messages before from people after a race. They're like, "Hey, sorry we didn't show up to race. We knew so and so was going to be there, and we couldn't beat them, so we just went and raced another series because so and so wasn't going to be there." And I'm not going to name any names, but it's like, well, you're never going to get faster if you're not riding with faster people.
Right.
It's not going to happen, and that's the wonderful thing about cross country. You don't know what's going to happen.
Yeah.
I mean, anything can happen. I mean, Abney typically wins, but if Abney has an off day and breaks, then it's up in the air who's going to win for the ATVs, and same thing with the bikes. We never know who's going to show up and take it. It could be Sam could have an awesome day and get out there on top.
All, buddy.
It would be one awesome day.
But like you said, you really don't know. When you talk about Abney specifically, in 2018, he missed 2 MWXC races out at Parker's Paradise. He blew out a carrier bearing, and they couldn't get it back on the track. And another race, I can't remember, he had something happen, busted a chain or something. But, stuff happens. Go out there and race.
Cheney came out, I think, at Walnut Creek and broke. So he was out there, and everyone thinks, oh, Kyle Cheney's here. Second is the only thing you're battling for.
No, that's
he
not
broke,
the case.
and I think he ended up like 4th or 5th or something like that. I mean,
and Devin and Matt Rao, they both give him a run for his money. He doesn't just walk away from them guys. It's a battle. Yeah. But I mean, that's the difference in the guy that has 2 and 3 cars at home and gets to put in that much more seat time, and then the average guy that is just working 70 hours a week to get it going and just barely has enough seat time, in my opinion. But the competition that we have is awesome. It's never a boring race across the board, in my opinion. I remember it was either last year or the year before at Potter's Cave. Every lap back and forth, it was Rao and Devin, and they were back and forth. And I remember after the race talking with them, and Devin took a line through a mud hole and just completely doused Rao. And he's like, as soon as I went around it, I knew that I was getting ready to be wet and get second place. He said, I should have went straight, because I looked at that every lap thinking, if he's in front of me, that's why I'm passing him. And he said, and it worked. He said, he got me. I'm cold, and I didn't win any money. So, it's always interesting.
So that's one thing we kind of want to do this year is try to find some live action spots on the track and do some reporting from there.
Yeah. Oh, sure.
Some good, whether it be a pro hill or just an action-packed spot, and where there's going to be some good action. So we're not just getting reporting from the finish line, but somewhere back in the track.
Yeah.
Is that correct?
Yep, and that's something that I've spoke with both of you guys about, on how to get the microphones to work that far out, and I think you guys figured out a solution to that, to just run it off of one of the radios. So hopefully we can get Sam out in the woods to a pro hill to where he can do some announcing in the woods. That way people up in the pit area know what's going on. My mom and dad show up to watch the race, and they can't make it all the way around the track to, the good spots at most races, and they would really like to be able to watch at the finish line and also hear that, one of their grandkids or, one of the kids that they've learned their name and all that. They want to be able to
what's going on
part of the
15
action.
minutes.
Yeah, that's right.
Oh, yeah.
That's right.
So, absolutely.
So hopefully we can get that going, by second or third race of the year.
Yeah, that'll be good. It sounds like you guys are making, big steps to try and grow the series and doing
I don't know.
Doing what you have to do.
Hey, you just pushed the button. That was simple.
There you go. Technology issues.
All right, so then our schedule for the year, we're starting out March 9th and 10th in Bloomfield, Indiana. Reason why we start out down there is the soil is really sandy. We were out there and last week, and they had just got 5 inches of rain over the last 10 days, and it was dry in the woods. Now the bottom field, it was interesting. We ended up floating one of the utility quads almost down the river, and had to take the air filter out and dry it over a campfire. Typical stuff just to get out of the woods.
Now, no peewees there, enough side by side.
That's correct.
Right?
That's correct. And then our second race of the year, which will be the following weekend, March 16th and 17th, will be in Gosport, Indiana at Potter's Cave.
Pushing our 2019 builds with back-to-back weekends, huh?
Yep.
Yeah,
making sure you're good to go. That's right.
Only the best can pull that off. Though.
That's right. Well, my thought on it was we need to stop racing real late in the year, because anytime after, October, the start of October, people are piecing their machines together and they're, borrowing money to even make it to the last races, and we're no different. I mean, our track machines are, busted axles and popping and cracking, so we figured if we can squeeze the races together earlier in the season, then we can be done, before the Ironman, and everybody can have a longer off time.
Well, and I know we talked a bit about the IXCR schedule lining up on top of AXCC about 4 different times, and AXCC is only running 7 rounds. But I know you and the two Andys got together and tried to put together a schedule that allowed you guys to miss each other. And so,
we tried to work together on a co-sanction event, and there just wasn't enough time to make that happen this year. So hopefully next year we will be able to have a co-sanction with them in the state of Indiana, to where it'll work out for both of our schedules. With them only running side-by-sides and ATVs, there's no time for a dirt bike race in there, and that's where we ran into the issues with it.
Well, like you said, there just wasn't much time, because he basically threw this series together in 4 months, and I know
impressive.
He had some sponsors that he thought were going to be on board, and they said, well, we said we were interested. We want to see how the first year goes.
Yeah.
And so he kind of got backed up against the wall there, and he's, in some ways fighting for his life this season. And we wish him the best, because I think he's got an awesome thing going. But
I hope he can stick with it long enough to make a go of it. I'm nervous for him, to say the least.
But I think next year he's got some other backers that are going to be coming on board that, sound very interested, and I think it's going to be easier to do that co-sanction race when he's had some time to settle in.
As much fun as Ghost Town is, maybe not pick Ghost Town.
We know that.
Parker's Paradise, maybe.
Yeah, right.
The ones where there's not enough room to really park as it is.
And that was one of our thoughts, is having a big enough piece of property to where we could have 2 different tracks set up, to where on Saturday we could run our ATV races together, and then Sunday he could do the side-by-side racing on a different part of the property while we're having dirt bikes, and then everything would work. And it'd be awesome for the spectators, because they can't necessarily be in the woods for the side-by-side race anyway, so they could kind of watch
over and see
dirt bikes, and everybody wins. And we found a couple pieces of property that we think it'll work on. It's just getting everything set in stone.
Yeah.
Is that my chair?
Probably.
Sounds like a chicken.
Evidently, we need to get some grease on that.
Whatever.
Maintenance issues.
Yeah.
So you've got, you said Ghost Town was up in the air, so that's not necessarily...
Yeah, that's one of our... We've got 2 to be announced dates on here, which is round 6, June 8th and 9th, and we've got locations to go to. I just don't know where we're going to go yet. I'm trying to find something on the east side of the state. That way I can not drive 3 hours, 11 times to the track. So.
It does seem like, because you're way out east, out in Greenfield, way out east of Indy, and it seems like all of your races are either west or southwest.
Oh, I noticed.
Has not escaped your attention?
Yeah,
you should move to Crawfordsville.
All right.
About that?
I've got a new truck I got at the end of the last season. I think I got it in September, and I've got 16,000 miles on it already, and that's a lot of miles on an F350.
Yeah.
I feel like an old man. I've got a cushion for the seat in there, so it doesn't hurt.
You got the lambskin.
Yeah.
He's got the little thing so the seatbelt doesn't chafe his neck.
That's right. So then after our Potter's Cave race, then we go to April 13th and 14th, Chimney Ridge in Paragon, Indiana.
That's a cool track.
So we're going there early this year.
Yeah.
Because typically, last couple of years, it's been late.
Second. Yeah, the second to last race.
Yeah.
So we're going to try to move some stuff around. Hopefully it will be a little drier, which the way this weather's going, nothing's going to be dry.
Well, this year, that was trees falling on us and such.
Oh, my goodness. Yeah.
Windy.
Yes, like today. And then from there, we're going to Bloomington, Indiana, the Bluff, which is, this will be our second year going there. Last year, you guys might remember it from all the stumps in the fields where they had just bush hogged the fields. Well, since then, he has
removed said stumps.
Well, he planted it last year, so he tilled it all under, and it's had a crop in it. So I'm sure there's still some, but nowhere near as many.
Not as
bad. That's a neat piece of property. I really like that place down there. It's got the old railroad tracks that we ran down, and that was neat to watch the side-by-side race down that. I mean, some of the X3s were coming through there as fast as the machines would go, and they're staying perfectly level.
Yeah.
And then you see the guys on the 800s going through there, and they're hitting every single bump. It's like, oh my goodness. That's the difference in, 8 inches of suspension travel
versus 20.
Yeah.
And a clean sheet of paper 5 years ago versus 15 years ago.
Yeah.
No kidding. And then our round 5, Walnut Creek in North Salem. Round 6 is to be announced. Round 7 is in Crawfordsville at Parker's Paradise again.
Always a good spectator track.
Yeah. Parker's is a tight one as far as the whole overall land, parking and everything, but it is good for spectators. You can walk to any of the really good spots within like 5 minutes.
Yes.
I mean,
and we've talked with a neighboring property owner there, and last year we would have raced the adults on his property as well, which would have almost doubled the size of their track. But he is a very particular man with his property. He doesn't want it, beat up at all, and it had rained right before that. So I was like, wow, we're not running that for 1 year.
Game over, yeah.
Hopefully it'll be dry this year, and then the adult track will be twice as long there, so that'll be really, really nice to have.
The side-by-side's going to get to go over onto that portion?
No.
I didn't think so. When you said that, I was like, I kind of doubt that.
I had to work out a contract with him to where I have to groom it like with shovel and rake after we're done. I mean, it needs to be, he has mountain bike trails through there now that are like mulched, so I'm taking a gamble to get a longer track. So,
but if we were
good thing you got 3 boys.
Yes, that's true. That is right.
You got shovels for them, right?
That's right.
Okay, good.
That's right.
That's what they got for Christmas, huh?
And then our round 8, which is July 27th and 28th, is TV's race, and that stands for Tom Brosco. Brosco name, you guys may have heard of it. They own, I think, 10,000 acres total between the family, and they allow another race at the end of the year for IXCR. That's where they finish there. It's a different piece of property and a different landowner, but it's in the same family. That's a very, very nice piece of property. They've got about a 2-acre pond, and a big grassy field is where the pits are going to be, and they want us to swim and fish and have a good time there, and it is gorgeous. We'll be camping there for a week at that place. I mean, Park County is nice anyways, because if you have a tag on your machine, we don't even have to take the truck anywhere. We can go, take the side-by-side up to 36 Saloon and eat dinner with the kids and, never have to get in a truck. So I'm excited about that one.
Heck yeah.
And then our round 9 is a to be announced. Hopefully that one will be on the east side of the state. We had a race over in Knightstown, which is only about 15 minutes from my house, back in 2014 or 15, and that has since been bought out by another couple, and we've been talking with them about possibly having a race over there, so that's up in the air, but hopefully it'll be on that side of the state for people that live over there. And then August 31st through September 1st and 2nd, it's a 3-day weekend. It'll be at Sandstone in Bowling Green, Indiana. Be our normal race on Saturday and Sunday, and then Saturday evening and Sunday evening will be some of the team racing, and then all day Monday will be team racing as well. It's a long weekend of racing.
It's a really long weekend, especially when you can't talk.
Yeah, that's
Ask
right.
me how I know.
That's where my job career began, isn't it?
Yeah, that's right.
That was actually all planned. I could talk just fine. I really needed to know who was going to step up and
Right.
Yeah.
Yeah, Sam came to me that that day, "Hey boss, you need help with anything?" As a matter of fact, I do.
Hey, look, you can talk.
Yeah. Can you read and talk? Man, we got a job for you. And he was like, "What? Wait."
It's not what I meant. It's not what I meant.
You know how I got that job? I walked up to Andy and said, "Hey, anything I can do for you?"
As a matter of fact,
exactly
yes.
Line and sink, right?
Yeah, I was going to
That's
say,
right.
the moral of the story is never ask Andy if there's anything you can do.
That's right. All my friends, they always say there's an ongoing joke. If you go over to Bridgewater's house, you better have on work gloves because he ain't never just sitting watching TV. You're picking something up.
Yeah.
And then round 11 is September 21st and 22nd. That's Martinsville Mayhem. It's a neat piece of property, and it lives up to its name.
It's
it is. There's some hills on that property that it seems like no matter what the conditions are, they just go completely to crap fast. I mean, the powder, the 1 year, it was
2 years ago.
yes, knee deep.
You step in, it was thigh deep in some places.
We worked on that hill for 4 hours Saturday night after the bikes got done, trying to make a way for the youth to go up. And without that hill, their track is about a mile long. Just the layout of that property, you have to go up it or down it. So we worked on it, and it was good to go. And I hear the radio just going crazy. People yell, "We need help back here, we need help back here." And I get back there, and it was still the second row of the youth quads, and they are buried.
Yeah.
It was, absolutely terrible.
Chad was sweeping at that race, and this one kid on his
that he
dirt,
wasn't.
well, this one kid goes by on his dirt bike, and the key fell out. Like, it was losing his shit.
It fell into the powder.
It's gone.
It's like, you're gone, dude.
He's
You're
like,
never
"What do I
fucking-"
do?" I hotwired his bike on the track for him.
I bet his dad wasn't even mad.
But it's like, that key's gone, dude. I mean, it might as well have been lava. You're never finding it.
Right, because it's not like he was stopped and it fell out and it was like right
Yeah.
next to him. He was rolling, it fell out, so it's back there somewhere. It's
In the
gone.
powder.
I can remember pulling arrows down at that race, and there was a downhill left or right hand turn, and there was a rut, and it was so deep powder. There was your normal tire rut, and then there was a mark where the handlebar for the ATVs was in the dust. It was like nothing I'd ever seen.
Well, and then last year, we had just some really hellacious thunderstorms roll through.
Yes.
I mean, we kept delaying races and stopping.
Yes.
Okay, I remember we had Pee-wees on the line, and I'm telling them, "All right, get back to your trailers, like right now."
Yes.
And
I forgot about that.
then right at the end, we had that huge storm come through, folded the finish line up in half, and I mean, it was a mess. It was it was a rough
Yeah,
weekend.
thanks for bringing that up. And
Here, there anything else I can talk about?
Right.
Yeah.
And then our last race of the year is October 19th and 20th, and that is in Rosedale, Indiana at Cemetery Woods. And then we're all going to celebrate at the Ironman because we don't have anything to do after
So
this.
that's a little different this year.
Yeah.
I like that compact schedule because, like
Yes.
you said, when it drags into November, it's just people are tired.
Our numbers
they're-
go down,
Yeah.
fast. We went our last race of the year. We had to reschedule because of the rain and stuff. Well, then when we rescheduled, there was 5 races in Indiana that same weekend, and nobody made any money that weekend. And
No, right.
It was a bad deal for everybody because
Racers had to choose.
yes,
what
their
am I gonna
points
do?
and that was
Especially if
a
you're running
tough
for points in
decision.
multiple series.
Yes, then you're thinking you had a plan in place. You figured, okay, well, I could miss this race because that's my last drop, and then we've got Midwest this weekend and IXR this weekend. As long as we can keep the machines together. Well, then we had to reschedule. Both of us did. I think it was 2 weekends in a row. We both ended up putting it that same weekend. And
So hopefully this will maybe eliminate that. Or
yes,
Allow a little more
so.
free
I think
space.
so.
Yeah.
I think people are going to like that because the joke was there was no off season because you'd finish the season, you'd throw your bike in the garage and go to the banquet the next weekend, and then pull your bike out, change oil, and you go
Yes,
racing.
that's
again.
right.
And that was it. Like that was
That's
the
right.
off season was
Yeah.
the 2 weeks in between.
And I think we're going to try to do our banquet for this upcoming season in December this year because
Okay.
that way we can just get it done and over with. My poor wife, she loves Christmas. That's her favorite time of the year. Well, the past couple of years, she hasn't been able to enjoy Christmas because she's been so busy trying to get
Banquet's not
everything
really
ready
over
for the banquet. I mean, it's honestly the hardest event that we put on, hands down. I mean, it's everybody races and spends every extra second and dime of money that they've got to make it to this banquet, and if it's not perfect in my book, I failed. People need to leave there feeling good about what they've done. They got their wives or their girlfriends that all year is not understanding why they're spending all the extra time and money to do this. And then whenever they show up at the banquet, if they're not like, I get it now, then I need to try harder for the next year. So.
Well, Sam told me after this past year's banquet that, he's got a handle on this thing, and he's like, I don't see what's so hard about it.
Right.
He's good to go.
Sam's so good he even interviewed himself at this year's banquet.
He's got nothing.
Well, I was curious. I want to go back to Cemetery Woods there, because that property, it's only a couple years old, but it's been the bane of your existence since you tried to run it.
Yeah, the first year we raced there, which would have been...
It was 2017.
Yeah. We had rain leading up to the event, and then it dried up enough to where we were able to set it up, and it was just a wonderful course. We got there a month or two in advance to get it all set up while, there were still some leaves on the trees, and we were able to get it marked out, and it was a completely new piece of property. Didn't have any races prior to that, and then race weekend, I'm sure some of you guys remember it. It just rained, and it never stopped raining. And
bring out the boats.
Yes, and the landowner, after pulling every single vehicle into the property Saturday at about 4 o'clock, came to me and was like, we can't do this anymore. And we had already talked about, canceling the bikes anyways, because if somebody was to get injured out there, we couldn't get to them to get them out. And
that's the race that I was running track sweep again, and to get one of the quads out, we had 3 utility quads trained together just to drag him out because. And he was running. It's not like he was dead motor.
Yep. There was pictures of quads that were in the mud up to the bars. Like you couldn't see anything but the bars above the mud.
Yeah, we ended up rerouting Saturday morning. It was already muddy. We ended up rerouting the youth onto the Pee-wee track, and then the adults onto the side-by-side track. I think that's how it went down.
Yeah.
And after we canceled the side-by-side race first because we knew that if they got stuck, they were just there forever.
Yeah.
And most of the guys understood completely, and they actually volunteered to help us pull other people out. They're like, we're already here. Do you guys need any help? And that's the one thing that's awesome about the sport. Instead of being upset about it, they, took their half full glass of water and, dumped it on their hands and got out there and helped us. So it was interesting to say the least. And then this past year, we had to cancel it and move it to another weekend to make it happen, and we did. It worked out okay.
It's such a cool piece of property. I really hope that this year it just works out and it's sunny and 65 degrees and just perfect, because people really need to see that property in the best possible light, because it is really cool.
The crazy thing is that property isn't like a swamp where it's not set up to where it's gonna hold water and it's always gonna be wet.
It's sandy soil.
It's just we've always gotten bad weather on it.
And this upcoming, 19, we're actually going to park in a different field on the other side of the property. Okay. It's more sandy, and it will hold up a lot better now that they put a big culvert pipe in to where now people can get all over to a couple different fields there, so that'll help. And
that first year in 2017, I had my camper out there, and Chad brought out his side-by-side on my 6x16, and we pulled that thing up in front of my camper,
made a patio,
made a deck out.
I remember that. Yeah,
so we're sitting there, and everyone's like eyeballing us as we go by, like, man, I wish I would have thought of that. We're out there in our lawn chairs above the
dry.
Well, it's either that or standing, because right there, you would step out of the camper and you were in 6-8 inches of water instantly.
Yes, I can remember that race like it was yesterday. I mean, that was absolutely terrible. I had just bought 2 new 450 Polarises and the Ranger, and I had a deal worked out with the dealership that if I took the new plastic off and put it in the barn, and they give me old plastic off of some of their rental machines up at Attica, they rent out 4-wheelers and stuff, so they give me some old plastic. Well, if I took off the new and put that old on there, and I just work out a deal to where I trade it in every year, well, then when I put the new plastic and the takeoff tires on there, it would look new. That was run. Yeah, they were junk after that race. I mean,
that was bad. That was the roughest. As bad as Martinsville was with the dust, you can get through it.
Yes.
The mud, there was nothing we could do. I mean,
that was pretty much as bad as it got.
Yeah.
I agree with that.
When you're chaining 2,000 cc's worth of utility quads, all 4-wheel drive to pull one full quad out.
It's running.
Yeah. It's just nothing you can do.
I don't think the property likes us. I think we should have named it, Cemetery Woods or something. Because
Sunshine Meadows.
There we go. Because after the season was over, as you guys know, it's just been either snowing or raining. So the finish line trailer has been there until 3 weekends ago. It finally got a weekend to where I was available and the landowner was available to assist, and I back my truck underneath the gooseneck trailer, and I get hooked up to it, and the trailer sank about 6 inches, and the ground's frozen around it, and it's 45 foot long, probably 15,000 pounds anyways. So then you freeze it to a field. She's stuck, so I hook it up. I go to back up, it wouldn't budget, so I go forward, it won't budget, so I just hold it to the floor, and the horsepower will get it out. Well, something give, and it was the clasp on the tongue of the trailer, and it fell through and did about $8,000 worth of damage to the bed of my truck.
Your brand new truck.
My brand new truck. The only new truck I've ever had. And those aluminum beds explode, if anybody wanted to know.
No.
There was pieces of that thing on the toolbox. It was a rough day.
I hate to laugh, but I can
That's all
picture
you can do.
Yeah, you don't have to cry.
I look in the rearview mirror and I'm like, that's a lot lower than it was a minute ago.
That old Andy luck kicking in.
Yeah.
No kidding, man.
So,
well,
there's that.
One of the things we had on here to talk about was give us one of your best and worst moments of being a series owner. I'm sure you've got a lot to pick from on the
So
worst.
you've had highlights that are, great things that have happened. We talked about, the family aspect, so I'm sure that gives you. So give us, both of you, we're going to get them from you, but your best moment and then your moment of, this is just the stupidest thing that's ever happened.
I'm quitting. I'm selling the series tomorrow.
Best thing for me is anytime one of my boys do good. Like Evan, my oldest boy, he started racing when he was 4, and he, did average, and in his last year Pee Wee, he would get, on the podium often, and anytime that they would do good enough to, win a race or something like that, you're overjoyed with, pride that, you're able to do that. And then every race where you look out on the start line, every race I get goosebumps because everybody out there, they're working for their dreams. This is their dream to do this, and you see the little kids with such determination on their face, and it makes it all worthwhile. Worst? I don't even know where to start on that.
It's only an hour show.
I'd say just anytime I have to deal with the county on anything, like if we have to get permits and stuff, I'm not that guy. I'm a very patient person, but when somebody makes up something to stop somebody else from doing it, it's very, very hard for me to wrap my mind around how one landowner that is complaining can control what another landowner can do on their property, and that
I know that kind of came around in Bloomington.
Yes,
that was ugly.
Yeah, it's not any better now.
No.
We're going to get through it. I'm not going to give up. So
yeah,
I'd say that's probably one of the worst things is just dealing with that stuff because people feel entitled to their opinion, and their opinion can affect someone else's.
Yeah.
When you've done everything on your end you can possibly do, and some outside source tries to.
And you think you've asked all the questions and you've contacted everybody, and then the day of, there's all this new stuff that, I can see that.
Yeah. So what about you, Sam?
Oh, man.
Best and worst memories. What do you got?
Only being with Midwest a couple years, probably my worst memory was at Martinsville. We were talking about the storms came in.
Yeah.
My mom came out, one of my biggest supporters, and she's worried to death. There's tornadoes 10 miles down the road. And the race got over, and she's like, do you mind if I leave? And I'm like, of course not, get out of here. And she calls me 5 minutes down the road. She's lost, she don't know where it's going, and then she hears on the radio there's a tornado.
Skies turn black,
so it's just moments like that you appreciate your family being there to support you, but you want them to be safe. So it's not a big terrible moment, but anytime somebody comes out to support you and something goes wrong,
for sure,
it's a bad feeling. But my proudest moment last year, last race of the season, Don's in my class, and there's a 3-point spread between us. So literally, he has to beat me or I have to beat him.
Yeah.
And I had him by 3 points. And going into the last round, we're running second and third. And we both go into a mud hole side by side, and we both bury it. And we look at each other like, really? And we're sitting there fighting to get off. And I look over, and Don hops off his bike and helps me get my bike out of the mud. You know, and gives me a little nod, and I start to take off. I'm like, well, I can't just leave him behind.
Let me go put in a lap. I'll get you on the next
I'm going to let the nearest track sweeper know.
I'll let him know when I go back there.
Yeah. So I leave my bike up against a tree, and I go walking through the mud. Man, we get his bike out, and we give each other a high five, and we battle it out back and forth the next 3 laps. And he got me. And I'm not even mad about it because that guy got off his bike, knowing we're 3 points ahead or difference.
Yeah.
And man, that's racing, and that's family.
Yeah.
So that's cool. It gave me goosebumps. It still does now talking about it. And
there was another story similar to that. 2 young ladies that were battling for first place in points this past season on quads. Same thing. They had a wreck. They got tangled up, got stuck. And they both helped each other get free and then basically got on their quads and kind of gave each other a nod and took off again. But neither one would leave until they were both running and back going again because they didn't want to win on something like that.
Yeah. That's sportsmanship, man.
Yeah.
That's finest. That's awesome.
Yes, I agree completely.
Yep.
And the kids see it too. My middle boy was racing and he come around a corner and there was a quad flipped over and he stopped one of his best races and got the machine off of this kid, and they see it from the adults, so they're learning. I've never taught them anything like that. I tell them, obviously if somebody's hurt, you do your best, but you can't teach that. That's all from what they've learned watching the adults do it, and it's a good feeling.
I hear story after story come out of MWXC specifically about people that just are there for their other racers regardless. Parker's Paradise 2 years ago, we had a pretty nasty leg break. Guy got airlifted out. Luke Brinkerhoff basically stopped, gave up his race when he saw that guy down and just turned off his bike and sat there with him until the medics got there and made sure he got out of the woods. And,
I remember that.
And, that's what it's all about. It doesn't, racing is competitive and it is, it's exciting and it's fun. But if you take it to that point where you're not concerned for the people around you, then you've missed out on the best part of it.
I agree completely.
You want them to do it for you.
Yeah. Yeah, and we all see it, especially when the Pee-wees race. There's this train of adults up, even the slightest incline.
Yeah.
But even if it's not their kid, they're helping them. Come on, buddy, you can do it, and cheering them on, getting them up there. It's neat. It's neat to watch.
Yeah, at Chimney Ridge this year, we put in the first Pee-wee Pro Hill, and it wasn't a hard hill at all. They could have all went up it anyways. And
more of a mental thing.
Yes,
for them.
And then there was a longer way to go around, and the kids that now finally get a chance to do the Pro Hill, and the parents that are hooting and hollering for them and stuff after they go up it, that was super neat for me to be able to stand there and watch. And my youngest two are battling back and forth. They race Pee-wee together in the same class, and every lap they would come through and they were in a different position while Ethan takes the go around, and Ian's right there. I'm like, Ian's gonna get him on the go around, and he looks down there and then he goes that way, and I asked him after the race, I was like, what are you doing? Why did you go around that? He said, well, the first lap I took it, I got stuck. I didn't want to get stuck again. Well, that's a legit reason, I reckon, but at the time, as a dad, I'm thinking, you can pass him here. You can do this. So,
the little kids want to be like the big guys. You get on the Pro Hill, it might not be much, but to them, it's accomplishment.
Yes, absolutely.
I went up that, and that's cool because that's what they want. They
want that challenge. A lot of people probably make the mistake of thinking the Pee-wee racers are just out there tooling around and not competitive. And
Mom's going, what, a Pro Hill?
Yeah, that's right.
And the kids are like,
But Labor Day weekend last year, before the team races, just during the normal races, that was one of the best race finishes I've ever seen. Was the Pee-wee bikes.
Oh. Yes, I agree completely.
I mean, these three kids just come screaming in full throttle in the air, like hitting this jump next to each other, all wheels in the air, and just screaming through.
That was Starnes and who else?
Dylan Buchanan.
Yes.
And they were just, that was one of the best finishes I've ever seen. They were hammered down until that last hairpin turn.
That's awesome.
And it was just, you could see it. You could see it in their eyes, through their helmets, man. They wanted that win, and they were racing hard for it. And I'm like, 7 years old. just getting it.
Future of the sport, right?
Yeah,
there.
right there, man.
But it teaches them good things in life too. I mean, it's not just about racing. It teaches them if you want something, you have to work hard
That's
for
right.
it.
That's exactly.
But also not to just knock the other guy down to get it.
Yeah.
I mean,
I enjoy the smack talk on the way to and from the races that the
Your
younger
boys.
two race against each other, and they're like, Ethan's slow, he's not going to beat me, and so on and so forth. And it's a good time.
That's awesome.
Yeah.
Well, did you prep trivia for
I
everybody?
have trivia.
That's one of the hallmarks of the show is we do trivia. This is
The other Andy didn't get to do trivia, so what's this about?
know.
we like you more.
There we go.
That's it.
Sure.
It's really easy to fill an hour, we've discovered, but I've been eyeing on the clock because I didn't want to. 2 weeks without trivia is no excuse.
we were going to have a riot.
Yeah. Because this has been a staple since, episode 6?
Yeah, it's pretty early.
We're on 74 now, so that doesn't hardly seem possible.
You don't have to be smart to answer the trivia because normally
if not.
normally they're like things that no one should know.
Right.
A lot of these cater to the lowest common denominator, too. So.
Yeah. Oh, we're in there.
So we'll go to my right. Samuel will go first, and then
I get home field
that.
advantage. Sorry, guys.
So how's this work?
I ask you a question, and you just give me your answer, yours, and Doug his, and then I tell you the real answer.
Alright.
The points are made up, and sometimes the trivia is, too.
Nothing counts, and
Okay.
whatever. It's all for fun. So,
Winner gets a cookie.
Sweet.
I got Google on standby.
Yeah.
question number 1: which Sesame Street character is the only one with 5 fingers? You
that's-
can't tell anyone.
That's a good question.
I guess I'll go with Elmo.
Okay.
Oscar.
Is it a puppet or a real person?
Oh.
Is it a character?
It's a puppet.
Okay. I'll go Oscar.
You're all wrong. It is Cookie Monster.
I told you.
You didn't tell me that.
Andy's son's over here, and he's clawing at the wall. It's like, I know.
I thought he just had big furry mitts. I didn't.
No, he's got fingers.
No, I just
All
see
right.
cookies.
So,
I could have got a cookie.
yeah. Question number 2: Abraham Lincoln had 3 jobs before going
And
into
5
poli-
fingers.
And 5 fingers before going into politics. What were his 3 jobs?
Oh man,
How about just one of the 3?
Yeah, there we go.
It was, I watched Abraham Vampire Slayer. There.
That's gotta be yours.
I mean, he was a vampire
Vampire
slayer.
Slayer.
He was a county commissioner and he was president. That's my answer.
He was a farmer. That's all I got. I don't know
Okay.
anything else.
You know, I know I've read before
You have? You can read?
one time, and it was about Abraham Lincoln. No,
Stop sign.
I want to say he was a lawyer. But probably not.
Okay, you're all wrong.
Okay.
He was a shopkeeper, a surveyor, and a postmaster.
Okay.
Makes no sense.
No, it wasn't a vampire.
I still like vampire hunting farmer lawyer.
They said it was a true story. That movie did.
Well, they lied to you. They lied to you.
His trivia's been wrong before, so
Yeah.
just saying, throw that out there.
All right, question number 3. Snow reflects what percentage of the sun's UV rays?
80%.
Okay.
90.
71.
Sam got it. Did
Really?
80%.
I thought it was 7.
You went high, I had to go lower.
Yep.
There you
He's
go.
seen his phone.
So that's the reason you can go snowblind, is because it
Yeah.
reflects a UV light into your eyes and it can make you go either temporary or permanently blind.
Yeah, I knew it was a super high percentage.
So, question number 4. The water in Lake Erie completely replaces itself due to springs, rivers, and rainfall in what amount of time? So all of the water in Lake Erie will be new, quote-unquote, water due to the rainfall and just the other
What
rivers
lake is
feeding
this?
it. Lake Erie.
I'd say. I don't know, you first.
Every 5 months.
5 months, okay.
6 months.
6 months.
I'm gonna go 10 years. Can you ever see how polluted it is? There's no way that is all going out in a rapid amount of time.
It is 2.5 years.
Okay. You know Lake Erie caught on fire once, right?
Yeah, that's the only body of water. Yes.
The lake caught on fire.
How's that happen?
It was over by, was it Cleveland?
Yeah.
Yeah. Cleveland, it's the only place bad enough that the water can burn.
Well, maybe they need to burn it down some more often and get all the
The
pollutants
fire
out.
didn't even want to touch Cleveland. It went into the water to stay away from Cleveland.
All right, question number 5. If the entire world's population had the same density as New York City, what area would it fit in?
Dude,
So, New York City has a population density that's pretty dense.
Okay.
You know, like a lot of people live in a small space.
Okay.
If the entire world's population had that population density, how big of a space would it fit in? Like, how many square
Because like in
miles?
Montana, everybody's spread out.
Right.
New York, they got like one
Yeah,
square foot
Montana,
each.
there's like a half a person for every 12 square miles or whatever it is.
How many square miles? Can I just give you a state or something?
Just give me a number. Square miles is what we're going by.
You first, Andy.
200.
200 square miles?
Yeah.
Okay. I don't know who's going next. Got out of order.
Yeah, I got to get a number from you.
I'll give you 2,000.
Okay.
It's like my phone. I see that.
You can't see it.
No, yeah. Man, that's an interesting question. I'll shoot some. I don't know. We'll say 1,200 square miles.
268,500 square miles. So that's basically the size of Texas.
I said
I
200.
swear that's what I was going to say.
Oh, were you?
I was thinking Alaska.
I heard that stat that if you gave everybody 1 square foot, it wouldn't even take up like a third of Texas.
Yeah.
But I didn't know what the actual density was in New York.
I don't know. I don't remember
Yeah.
what the stat is. But basically, for people that are worried about, the world's running out of space and everything else, it's not that crowded.
Go to Montana.
Or Russia. Yeah. All right. Question number 6. This one's kind of for Fuzzy. How many in the U.S. die from spider bites per year on average?
Nice.
In the U.S.
In the U.S.
Yeah.
So, Fuzzy, for you guys who don't know, he's a mutual friend of Doug and I, is terrified to death of spiders.
My wife is. If I show her a picture of a spider, like you'll see on Facebook, I seen something in Australia. It was their spider season, and the whole ground and the trees and everything like covered in spider webs. And she's all, "Get away!" I'm like, "It's on a phone. There's not even a picture of a spider. It's a web. I don't care." She told me we were selling the house one day because there was a spider in the closet, and she has no clue where it went. I was like,
Sounds about right.
"Yeah,
It don't bother me at all. Drives Jenny nuts because I don't even kill them. I take them outside.
Yeah.
There you go eat
yeah,
something.
yes,
Mosquitoes,
please get rid of the mosquitoes."
Yeah.
All right. So
How many people die in the U.S. per year?
That's
due to
probably
spider
fair
bites?
because it's probably higher overseas in certain
Probably.
spots. Like
Oh,
Australia,
absolutely. Yeah, I'd say
where everything tries to kill you.
260.
Okay.
I'm going to give you more like 2,500.
Okay.
I'll go 1,200. I'll go somewhere in the middle.
7. 7.
Well,
On
Stephen,
average.
there's nothing to be afraid. You're way more likely to be struck by lightning while driving your car to buy a lottery ticket.
Yeah,
I
right.
mean, come on.
A winning lottery.
Yeah.
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 Well, that's
Just
interesting
7.
to know. 7.
So, question number 7 also has to do with spiders. So this will be your wife's favorite.
All right.
Sweet.
How many people have died, this is in the whole world, due to tarantula bites?
Worldwide.
Worldwide, from the beginning of time, well, from the beginning of records.
I was going to say, are cavemen tracking that sort of thing?
Yes. Caveman stats left on the walls.
With a statistic like the last one, I'm going to say 0.
Okay?
42.
Okay?
It's going to be low. I'll go a little bit higher and say like 93.
Sam's right, 0.
Really?
Because
What
actually,
was the question?
How-
Trick question. You got to snuck that in on me.
how many people have ever died from tarantula bites?
Oh, they don't bite. They don't.
They do bite, but the venom that they inject is less than a bee sting, actually.
Yeah.
Okay.
So,
Well,
they look scary. They're not anything that's...
my only thought was, like, if somebody's allergic to it, it's not venomous, but, you know, if people die from bee stings because they're allergic.
Right.
So I thought there had to be somebody who is allergic
Or had
to
a-
it, but, you know.
Got bit and had a heart attack.
Yeah.
Could be.
Or you can go home and buy your wife a
Tarantula. No one's ever died from this.
You're fine. I would die if I brought her a tarantula home.
She'd murder you.
Yes, that would be
Just
that. You have
murder
to
you.
change that answer.
All right. Question number 8. Who was offered... oh, I mistyped. I'm like, what the heck is that? It's a real word I mistyped. So that's why it looked funny to me. All right, question number 8. Who was offered the role of Israel's second president in 1952 but declined?
Who knows this stuff?
Well, I do now. You will here in a few minutes.
I don't have a clue. I don't know. Hank Jr.
Putin.
Okay.
Dwight D. Eisenhower.
No, it was Albert Einstein.
Really?
Yep, he said, I have neither the natural ability nor the experience to deal with human beings.
Like, no kidding.
Yeah, I can see that.
Yeah, he was not a political person.
Remember that bomb I helped develop to get rid of human beings?
Kind of the same thing. All right. Question number 9. What does the Japanese word kamikaze mean? So you know that kamikaze fighters that dive bomb.
Right.
Suicidal?
Okay.
Same thing, I'd say.
Okay.
Divine wind.
You are correct, sir.
Oh, wow.
It does mean divine wind.
5.
How's that work, then?
They think they are dealing what should be done. No.
So they're suicidal.
Yes.
Yes.
Yeah, we win.
Okay. Question number 10, since y'all are cultured individuals like myself.
Oh boy.
How do dog show trainers use cans of soup to help train their dogs? And this is a real thing.
Repeat that.
So trainers for like the dog shows, the fancy dogs,
Okay.
who cost a lot of money and, you know, you don't find at the shelter. They use cans of soup to help train their dogs to do a certain thing. How do they use the cans of soup?
I don't know. They feed it to them as a treat.
Okay.
You see Sam's thinking, they're going to throw the cans of soup at him when they do bad stuff.
A noise of some sort. I
Okay.
don't know.
They don't like the noise or something and they clang cans together or whatever?
Something like that.
Okay.
I'm thinking they have to do that specific like stance when they're being looked at. They have them stand on 4 cans because they have to balance a certain way.
That's good.
You are correct. That is what they do.
Ooh, that was a
Yep.
total guess.
That's a good guess.
But they have to, because they kind of have to stand like, you know, with their tail up and like
Yeah.
arched and.
So they place the 4 cans of soup and they set the dog on that.
And if it,
And that way the dog won't step off those cans real easily and they can see when it's starting to. So they train it to stand where the 4 cans are placed, and then when they set the dog on a flat table, it'll naturally want to stand like that.
Ha! Doug and I got 2. How many did you get, Andy?
what's that all about? Maybe-
And I think you were closer on a couple than me, so I'm gonna say you probably got the cookie today, man. I was looking real bad there. We got to question 8, and I'm like, I'm not gonna get any of these.
My other one was a complete guess.
Sam gave me a hard time the other night. We were at Ryan's house trying to shoot his new bow in the garage, and Ryan's the only one that could pull it back, and I was feeling good about myself because Sam couldn't pull it back either. I'm like, oh sweet, I'm not the only one. And Sam, after 20 minutes of trying, it pulls it back, and he's like, when you gonna do it, girl? Something along those lines. Well, go home and practice, I guess.
And for people who haven't seen Ryan, he's
He's a big boy.
pretty
Yeah.
big boy. How many pounds do you say that bow was?
Oh man, I don't know.
It was, I think it had an 80-pound
That's
draw
a lot to
or
pull
more.
back.
It was a bunch.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I got a super cool slow-mo. Did you guys see
Yeah,
that?
I did.
Posted it?
On Facebook.
Yeah, I was like, oh man, my phone's really close to that. Hopefully he's as accurate as he has been. I wish it had an even slow-mo to see it coming in. So.
Well, the stupid stuff with Chad is usually how we wrap up, but we've done a Facebook Live of us driving and bombing a motorhome down the road in our horrible electrical job. I think
I got a quick one if you want it.
Yeah, let's do
I
it.
just heard it yesterday, and it wasn't even really involving me other than someone dropped a trailer off at the shop. So this guy drops a trailer off at the shop, and it's not even his, it's his neighbor's. He borrowed to go down to Daytona to camp out there. And he had wiped out the whole side of it.
Enclosed trailer, I assume.
It's a camper trailer.
Oh.
Even better. So,
Sweet.
My dad's talking to him. He's like, how did this happen? Well, apparently his wife had gotten sick, diarrhea, and he was trying to get pulled over to the side of the road real quick, didn't see a pole, and just drug it right down the side.
Oh my goodness.
So, yeah, that was great. So now he's fixing his neighbor's camper out of pocket because he just, tore down the whole side on a pole that was on the side of the road.
And that's-
she's about to poop in the truck. Nice.
And that's probably a good trade-off, though, the side of the camper versus the interior.
Oh,
of the
yeah.
truck. That's a good
Yeah,
trade-off.
you get over in a hurry when that's going to happen.
Well, and when you hit something now, it's not just like a boom, it's like a boom.
She probably still went in the truck.
Oh,
yes.
That probably actually made it
That
happen.
accelerated that process.
Yes, that's right. That's like when Ryan pulled the new camper into the side of Kyle's house.
Yeah.
Remember that?
Well, we've reached that part of the show where it's well past an hour. We need to
Wrap it up.
Put a tourniquet on the bleeding here. We do want to say thank you, of course, to all of our sponsors. CW Motorsports, who's come on as the title sponsor this year, and I said title right the first time this time.
Not tighter,
or any other ways I butchered that this year. I've also got Spangs Fab, who, if you're not familiar with them, they make some of the best aftermarket parts you're going to find for your Razor. Make full race cages, arch lower A-arm.
X3s, Maverick, they'll do it for anything.
They'll do it for anything, but they've got a lot of parts in stock for a lot of different machines as well. Heavy duty radius rods, arch lower A-arms, you name it, they've got stuff that'll beef up your machine. Go check them out for sure. Also got TGM Off-Road, just a great group of guys if you are interested in riding or just chatting about your UTV
or showing pictures of what you're grilling. Apparently they do that a lot.
Food is a big thing. Sometimes we make fun of people for, Instagramming their food, but that's a big thing on TGM. Yeah. And I gotta admit, most of the
it's not like, look, it's a burger. It's like, I've got the giant grill and it's stacked with meat.
Yeah.
Nice.
Or I made, a 30-gallon stock pot full of gumbo. It's always way overdone and awesome, and it always makes me hungry. Yeah. So that's the thing. If you like to cook, maybe you can get in there and find yourself a UTV while you're at it.
There you go.
And who's Watch Communications, who is hosting this whole mess, and that's the reason you're able to watch it right now. The code Waste of Time is still valid if you need 1 month of free hosting for your website, or if you live in rural parts of Ohio or Indiana or even parts of Illinois now. They can probably hook you up with internet service if nothing else is available to you. You can find us on the web at our website, eminentperformance.com. You can find us on Instagram at Eminent Racing or on Facebook /Eminent Racing. You can find the video version of this show on YouTube. Just look for Eminent Performance, or you can find the audio version on YouTube, or not on YouTube, on Google Play, iTunes, Stitcher, or iHeartRadio.
And Podcast Addicts, we're on there.
And Podcast Addict, if you're not familiar with it, basically aggregates from a ton of different sources, and you can find it there as well. Yeah, that's probably our preferred medium for
podcast
listening. We actually listen to our own show. That's how lame we are. No, we just try to make sure.
I laugh at my own jokes, so no one can say no one laughs at it.
Well, I found out the other day you actually listened to the audio version and then watched the video version.
I want to make sure it came out right.
Quality control.
That's
and
right.
Being as I'm the one doing this, that is.
I gotta check up on you.
That's a very, very real thing.
Yep.
Yeah. Don't forget to subscribe to the channel and like, and
there's a little bell down here on the YouTube. That's your notification.
Right underneath Andy, there's anything you can click to subscribe to the channel.
Thanks to Sam and Andy for coming out.
Guys,
nice to have you guys.
On here.
No, absolutely. The pleasure was all ours. We should have done this sooner.
I agree. Thank you.
We'll do this at the end of the season and see if you're both still as excited about racing or not.
Right. Excited about something at that point.
I'm excited. 2019 season is over.
Right. Who wants to buy a series? All right, guys, and no matter whose camper you've wiped out this week, thanks for riding along with us.
Thanks, guys.
Tired of going down, tired of myself, tired of this town.